Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Patreon-sponsored review time again. And you know, I have a theory that at some point, every internet reviewer does a video on Transformers the movie. Oh sure, the animation guys you expect, the sci-fi guys, the nostalgic people, hell, even the video game guys will give their thoughts on this film. But I mean everybody ends up doing a video related to Transformers the movie sometime. H-Bomber Guy did a Transformers the movie video, for crying out loud. And it wasn't even a measured response video about Galvatron or an expose on Hot Rod or something. But eventually, everybody does Transformers the movie. Hell, I'm a comic book guy, and you could argue I technically already covered it with the Transformers Deviations comic that showed off the question of, what if Optimus Prime had lived? And the answer being, not much changes, frankly, but God, do we really hate the Season 3 cast? Admittedly, the patron who requested the movie didn't originally intend me to cover it. They wanted me to cover Transformers 1. Thing is, while the schedule slippages may have pushed things forward, the review would have originally fallen within the 1 year from release grace period I give any material I review, with occasional exceptions. I did watch the movie on my own time to see for myself if it was any good, and yeah, it was. I really liked it. I recommend it. But no, we're going back to the first animated Transformers movie. And man, was I surprised by the amount of people who wondered if I meant the first Michael Bay movie, considering that is not called Transformers the movie. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if someone did request that, if only to make me miserable. Yes, even the first one is bad, it's just not as bad as the others. Point is, I'm hoping that you're not coming to this review with the hope of some wild, new, original take on the film. As a reminder of my history with this franchise, I started with Beast Wars, read the entirety of the original Marvel comics, and watched a smattering of G1 Transformers. As I mentioned back in the retrospective, this was back in the day when media piracy existed, but peer-to-peer file transfer wasn't the main method of doing so. People just put up really low-quality clips and whatnot on websites and you had to download them. And that was the case for me with Transformers the movie. I got a copy back then from the now long dead site I got all the episodes from. Took all day to download while I was at school. Got home and watched it. And loved it. Partially because I was a teenager, and thus the cartoon having swear words and higher levels of violence was enthralling. Now that I'm older, I can appreciate and understand the flaws of the film, even if I still love it and can snark on it, and we can of course talk about the big flaw with it right away. Killing off so many characters. For those unaware, the movie was conceived as a way to promote the 1986 toys, and as such, Hasbro executives insisted that the old guard be eliminated. We're not selling these anymore, get rid of them and promote these new ones. Director Nelson Shin apparently could only control the story of the film as long as the merchandising of the new characters was top priority, but even the TV show writers knew what a bad idea this was, in particular the loss of Autobot leader Optimus Prime. And yeah, kids reacted badly to it, to the point where the G.I. Joe movie, in production at the same time, but delayed so that it wouldn't release until after this one, hastily changed it so that the Joe leader Duke would not be killed as planned. But let's talk some more about this later. Let's dig into the Transformers the movie and talk about what I think works, what doesn't work, and what could have worked. And also, yeah, bringing back that custom intro Zero Ryoko made. Forgot to do that last time. Damn light pollution, you can't even see the Sunbow and Marvel Productions logo in the sky anymore. Anyway, we open in space! With some gorgeous shots of this giant ball of death flying between two stars, solar flares erupting from them. Why, hello, Toei Animation! The big ball of death approaches a world that's not Cybertron, but does contain robotic life on it. And I feel like that's something not really talked about a lot, the fact that the Transformers are not unique as robotic life in the universe. There are other races of machine people out there. While we'd get origins of the Transformers later, saying they were built by others, some versions talk about machine life evolving just like organic life does, and it'd be fun to have a sci-fi show explore that a bit, I think. In a lab, a scientist's pitchers of Kool-Aid flavors get knocked over thanks to the approaching object.
Marvelous! Look! It's Unicron!
We apparently know what this is, but had no early warning of its approach despite it being that friggin' big! Damn it! Why did we spend so much time aiming our telescopes at the Sunbow logo instead? Unicron grabs hold of the planet with giant horns or fangs or whatever and begins sucking in life from it, drinking up the cities, the people, the ground, anything. The scientists in that lab try to flee to ships, but one of them gets sucked back in even while escaping. The visuals inside of Unicron are like something out of the movie Mad God. All that life pulverized and chomped, squished into fluid and dust, which is converted into fuel and electrical arcs and weird energy beams just to keep this thing going more. Hell of a way to open your toy commercial movie. Deaths of countless innocents, children included, by an engine of destruction that can consume entire worlds. But then they follow it up by a hard rock cover of the Transformers theme by the band Lion. I see once we're past the Sunbow logo, we enter the Shooting Star credits nebula featuring a hell of an all-star cast. That wouldn't follow into the TV series. Anyway, as the credits wrap up, we've got the Transformers narrator to let us know that some time has passed since Season 2 of the show.
It is the year 2005.
Oh, our old future.
Points to the creative team for sticking to the bid of it being 2005 for Season 3, to the point of even having a quasi-G.I. Joe crossover with future Cobra Commander. But yeah, 20 years have passed since Season 2, and a lot has evidently happened for the Autobots in their war against the Decepticons. While Cybertron itself remains under Decepticon control, the Autobots have gained control of Cybertron's moons and are using them as staging areas to continue the war. Laserbeak, one of Soundwave's cassette robots, is sent in to spy on them. The continuing awesomeness of Soundwave and his forces. I even made a Laserbeak-style body for Poyo.
Came with a new voice module and everything. Think I'm keeping this voice for when my real new body is made.
Which should be any day now.
He said, as any day now has stretched to several years now.
Ironhide is chomping at the bit to attack the Decepticons, but Optimus Prime orders him to do a supply run to Autobot City on Earth to gather more Energon cubes to power said assault.
Jazz, report security status.
No sign of Decepticons here, Prime.
Jazz, I can see the damn robot bird right outside the window. The next time I get back from Earth, we're gonna have a serious performance evaluation for your job here. Jazz calls up Moonbase 2 to see if there are any Decepticons there, and it looks clear. And in the intervening time, Spike, the teenager from the first 2 seasons, has grown up and is now working with them in an exosuit. Spike also has a son, Daniel, whom he asks Ironhide to check in on when he gets to Earth.
And tell him not to worry. I'll be coming home as soon as we've kicked Megatron's tail across the galaxy.
Considering the war has been going on for millions of years, Spike, this is frankly just another way of telling Daniel, I'm going out for milk and then never returning. Laserbeak returns to Megatron and shows him what he saw. Megatron quickly rallies his forces and attacks the shuttle, who I guess didn't detect their approach, and the slaughter begins. This is our first big scene of violence for the film as Megatron and his forces massacre the Autobots. It's nothing gratuitous, but it's clear that unlike the TV show where someone gets blasted and they just fall over or something, we're seeing smoke and energy damage release. It's very much meant to indicate that more common fixtures from the show, like Ironhide and the like, are just straight up dead. Megatron plans to use the captured shuttle to get inside Autobot City's defenses. Ironhide, barely alive, crawls over.
No! Such heroic nonsense.
Oh, Primus, that was too close! Oh god, I shot my own foot in that... God! Megatron has fallen! Starscream! Starscream, shut up and get the welding kit or I'll do this to your foot! On Earth, we meet our new protagonist for the series, Hot Rod, as he goes fishing with Daniel. Man, remember when all the kids were wearing that outfit in 2005? Also, I love how we just have a giant Autobot-sized fishing rod. Anyway, Daniel's bummed because he hasn't seen his dad in a while, but Daniel has a little tracking device that indicates when a shuttle is landing. So, what was the point of him having a little box that pinged like that instead of just, like, a phone? Daniel takes off in his rocket hoverboard. God, I miss 2005. And while The Touch is of course the most fondly remembered song of this movie, I feel the other Stan Bush song that plays here, Dare, is very underrated. It's cheesy 80s generic, yeah, things are exciting, we're cool, but the combination of actually doing cool stuff on a rocket hoverboard and a transforming robot car with great animation really does sell it. They smash through the barrier of being set up by another new character, Cup, because Hot Rod is kind of an asshole. Not a total one, but a bit. They arrive at a lookout station to see the shuttle approach, but Daniel, spotting the hole in the side of the shuttle, tells Hot Rod that the Decepticons are on board and he opens fire. And hey, you may blame Hot Rod for what happens later, but he is the one who helped stop the Decepticon attack before they got inside the base and made things worse. Hot Rod, Cup, and Daniel race back to the city as the Decepticons begin their attack. The Autobots here are led by Ultra Magnus, voiced by Robert Stack of all people. Autobot City can transform into more of a fortified base, but it has to be done manually. As explained at the beginning of Season 3, part of the city lacks its transformation cog to turn itself into the giant Autobot Metroplex. Starscream tries to chase RC and Springer as they flee to another part of the base, and then inexplicably transforms into robot mode before blasting up again, only to get his foot caught in the closing doors, and he has to shoot it to escape. And you just know that the Decepticon healthcare plan won't cover that. A lot of the battle is a combination of two things. Fun moments to advertise the toys, like the Insecticons chewing through doors, or cool transformation visuals to show off the budget a bit. And both are good. If you're gonna do a toy advertisement, give us a reason why we should think these things are cool enough to buy. Hint, hint, wink, wink, check out this cool figure of me, look at him, look at him! And since this is a movie, let's get some visual spectacle to demonstrate why this is different from what we've gotten before. Autobot scientist Perceptor goes to Blaster, who seems to be in charge of the blasters, but is also still their communications guy.
Blaster, Ultra Magnus sends orders to contact Optimus Prime on Moonbase 1.
So we're going to call these episodes the Paul Aiding double feature, because not only did he voice Roy Campbell in the last one, but he's also Perceptor here. Thank goodness for the talent of voice actors, because if I hadn't been looking up info for the movie, I would have never assumed they were played by the same guy. Aiding's voice became much more recognizably deep after this, or maybe he stopped using that particular register, because I feel like come the 90s, that's when his voice seemed most recognizably him. Anyway, Megatron sees their attempt to call for help and orders Soundwave to deal with him. Thus, it's one set of mini cassettes versus another, and it's glorious. While our heroes push a giant cannon into place, Megatron orders the Constructicons to merge into Devastator. Okay, I will prepare, but I kind of need a couple of hours to put my affairs in order. Can you come back at like 6?
I got better things to do tonight than die.
Springer, you were going to veg out in your room reading Popular Mechanics. No, you didn't. The cannon does some damage, but the battle proceeds for some time, leaving most of the city in ruins. But fortunately, Optimus Prime arrives with reinforcements.
Dinobots, destroy Devastator!
You want to make some room for new toys, Megatron? Well, you're gonna need some replacements too. The Dinobots fight Devastator, but even their combined might isn't enough. Maybe Windcharger there can help.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Prime! I'll surrender for $500! Okay, I left my wallet back on Moonbase 1. There is an upper limit to the cost. Only the power of 80s cheese can save our heroes. You've got the touch! Go buy Transformers! Oh, you're gonna force us to kill off the beloved character, huh? Okay, fine. Let's show him single-handedly kicking the asses of the villains. Almost comically so, as he resists the same weapons that earlier had slaughtered his troops with single blasts. Yeah, it's been a while, so the weapons are likely not as strong as they were before the battle started. But still, if you're gonna make your character go out, there are worse ways to do so than to make him look like the coolest guy in the universe.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
Unfortunately, he's referring to Cybertron's election day.
Why throw away your life so recklessly? That's a question you should ask yourself, Megatron.
Let me know when you have an answer. I'll just wait here and wait for you to begin your introspection. And thus, fight scene. Megatron quickly abandons his "I'll fight you with my bare hands" thing as Optimus proves to punch harder than him. With Megatron down, Optimus grabs his gun to finish the job, but Megatron pleads for mercy as he spots a gun in the rubble. Optimus has been fighting this war for millions of years, so he's not gonna fully fall for that, but he is delayed thanks to his response. Hot Rod spots what Megatron is doing, and instead of just yelling out or using a gun himself to shoot Megs, he rushes in, allowing Megatron to grab him and use him as a shield. He then takes the gun and shoots Optimus several times. Before he can finish him off, though, Optimus packs one more wallop that sends Megs over an edge, smashing into another floor on the way down, and thoroughly beaten. Starscream orders a retreat aboard the triple-changer Astro train.
Don't leave me, Soundwave. As you command, Megatron.
Man, it's so sad to see unrequited love. The Decepticons flee, and unfortunately, Perceptor says that Optimus's wounds are beyond repair.
Do not grieve. Soon I shall be one with the Matrix.
But Prime, humans hate robots in the Matrix movies. It'll be worse than this. Prime says that Ultra Magnus will be their new leader and passes on the matrix of leadership to him. This big blue glowy geode ball thing that, according to him, will eventually light their darkest hour. And unfortunately, Prime's paint job wasn't well done, and thus he quickly discolors. And then half the audience left the theaters immediately because they were in tears at this. So here's the thing. I don't think killing Optimus Prime was necessarily a bad idea. The problem is in execution and timing. Now, he went out swinging, saving the day, kicking ass, etc., but we've got like an hour of movie left and we've lost our greatest hero. I think there are two different approaches they could and should have taken. The first, don't kill Optimus Prime. Upgrade him. In a little bit, Megatron and some other characters are going to become new characters. Why not have Optimus sidelined, heavily injured, and they need to figure out a way to save him, knowing the Matrix can do the job somehow, and eventually an injured Prime and Hot Rod end up inside Unicron and all that, but then the Matrix opens and Optimus is upgraded into Ultra Magnus. Yeah, let's not beat around the bush here. We're trading one truck leader for another, so why not just make Ultra Magnus an upgraded version of Optimus Prime instead of a different character altogether? That way it even becomes a parallel to what happened to Megatron, and you're still selling a new toy without losing Optimus completely. Alternatively, take the Star Trek II approach. Word had gotten out in the lead up to Star Trek II that Spock was going to die. To preserve the moment, we had a fake-out death with him for the Kobayashi Maru scenario, and his actual death, which originally was more a shock moment earlier in the film, probably in the first fight with Khan, was pushed to the end where Spock made an heroic sacrifice. If you're gonna kill Prime, make it the end of the movie. A big heroic sacrifice as we see him prepare Hot Rod to become the new leader. After all, as far as I can tell, the mandate was just these characters have to be killed off to promote the new toys. I think you can follow that mandate and still work around it to make it fit and still tell a good story. But yeah, as a result, we're left with barely any of the old guard who are recognizable to the kids, and instead a bunch of new guys who are taking over the show. It breeds resentment towards them in the audience. Unicron is somehow able to sense these events unfold and is pissed. On Astro Train,
jettison some weight or I'll never make it to Cybertron.
Of course! Don't you know anything about science?
But yeah, Starscream takes advantage of this to jettison all their damaged colleagues, Megatron especially.
Wait, I still function.
The last words of my editing computer as I tried to work on the Metal Gear Solid review. Starscream elects himself as the new leader naturally, but the Constructicons object, saying they're more powerful when combined into Devastator.
Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior.
There is logic in what he says.
They fight, but we cut away from that to the damaged Decepticons as they're found by Unicron.
Welcome, Megatron.
Take off your shoes. I'll get you something to drink.
Unicron is, of course, voiced by the late great Orson Welles. There are conflicting accounts of how he felt about being in the movie, with his biographer claiming that he complained about it before his death, but seemingly he was enthusiastic about it in the lead-up. I just want to know who the hell first thought, hey, we should ask the Citizen Kane guy to voice our giant planet-sized and planet-eating death robot. Regardless of how he felt about it, this is his last recorded role, and even if he hated it, we loved it, because it's still goddamn Orson Welles and his few lines sell it.
I for a purpose.
To tell you about Findus frozen peas.
Unicron tells Megatron that the Matrix of Leadership is the only thing that can destroy him, and he wants Megatron to go and destroy it, letting him know that Ultra Magnus now possesses it. In return, Unicron will upgrade his body and change the remains of his other troops into new soldiers.
And nothing.
I do love how Megatron is confronted by this planet-sized being, half dead and with no way home, and yet he still has the temerity to ask, "Well, what the hell do I get out of this?" Megatron reluctantly agrees, and we get this cool sequence of the Decepticons being upgraded. Megatron now becoming Galvatron, and even getting a new voice.
I will rip open Ultra Magnus and every other Autobot until the Matrix has been destroyed.
I haven't bothered to look up who this actor is, probably Paul Aiding again. But seriously though, again, I have to wonder who it was that thought, you know who would be interested in voicing a villain for our toyetic movie? Spock from Star Trek. And by the way, I am really annoyed by Michael Bay. Much like Orson Welles, I was curious what Leonard Nimoy thought of the film, and every time I tried to search for Leonard Nimoy Transformers interview, it just came up with stuff related to frickin' Dark of the Moon, since he was in that making Star Trek references. Cool, not frustrating at all. But yeah, before he can destroy the Matrix, Galvatron decides that there's some house cleaning to do on Cybertron. Starscream is going through a ceremony to become the new Decepticon leader finally, and given how impatient he's been about getting this job, you can understand why he doesn't like that his fanfare is taking a while. Oh great, Starscream, and the Constructicons even had a gig lined up to do the music for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. I love how Starscream only sports this look for like a minute or two, but it's become iconic. In any case, Galvatron and his forces arrive to interrupt his coronation.
Coronation, Starscream? This is bad comedy.
We usually wait for the correspondence dinner for that. Starscream seems to recognize him as Megatron and asks if it's him.
Here's a hint.
Can I get another hint? That doesn't really narrow it down.
Will anyone else attempt to fill his shoes?
I'm the ninja consultant for the Decepticons.
However, this is the ceremony of interruptions, as Unicron has arrived in the system and quickly devours Cybertron's first moon. Jazz contacts Autobot City to let them know what's up.
A ginormous, weird-looking planet just showed up in the suburbs of Cybertron.
Oh great, this day sucked already, but now we gotta deal with Hellstar Ramina? Bumblebee and Spike inform the others that the planet is now going after them next, and they'll try to slow it down. They set the base, and presumably the moon itself, to self-destruct and try to escape, and unfortunately the explosion does nothing to it.
Oh shit, what are we gonna do now?
Strongly worded letter, here we come! I may even use the S-word again! No, that was wrong of me. We can't be that strong with it. Their escape ship gets sucked back into Unicron along with the moon debris. Galvatron is pissed, insisting that Cybertron and its moons are his. Which, again, he just witnessed this thing eat the moons, and he's still acting indignant towards it. Unicron compels him to obey with pain. Galvatron ordering his forces to Earth. And Unicron just sits there, I guess.
Oh man, I have filled up on moons. I am just going to stay here for an hour to digest before I even think about going 5 feet over to Cybertron.
Back on Earth, Ultra Magnus rallies the Autobots to return, though it's pointed out that they have no idea what the hell to do once they get there. Magnus thinks that maybe the Matrix holds the answer, Hot Rod affirming that, sensing something, but then Galvatron arrives to continue the attack. Blur, the fast-talking super-speed Autobot, tries to get the Dinobots aboard a shuttle, but Grimlock just wants to keep fighting, even breathing fire on Galvatron's ship.
Shake harder, boy!
Our heroes board the shuttles, I guess having repaired the big hole in one, and they fly off, supposedly losing the Decepticons, but Galvatron soon catching up again. Hot Rod Cup and the Dinobots shuttle gets blasted and they're forced away, crashing on some weird-shaped planet. Magnus' shuttle manages to get away by ejecting the front of it, letting the back half get destroyed and making it look like they're dead. However, while Galvatron is fooled, Unicron is not, compelling him to return through pain. You'd think Unicron would have given him a phone or something when he reformatted him instead of dragging his ass back like that. The escape vessel isn't going to make it to Cybertron, so our heroes elect to land on a nearby planet actually called Junk to make repairs. Hot Rod Cup and the Dinobots ship apparently crashed underwater, or under mineral oil because water and electronics. And our heroes have to get themselves free of the underwater menaces like robot piranhas, robot seaweed, and robot squids. Have we just had it wrong this whole time, and in the Transformers universe, we are the weirdos for being non-mechanical life? Thankfully, they're saved by more rockin' 80s tunes and built-in buzzsaws.
Your logic is correct.
The planet junk is more like a part of a planet, given how it's shaped, and Magnus's ship crashes on it. Given how rough everything is, and they kind of need all hands to help in the repairs, they give Daniel his own exosuit. However, before they can make their repairs, they're viewed by the inhabitants of the place, the Junkions, led by Rekgar, aka Eric Idle.
Offer expires while you wait. Operators are standing by.
We'll see more examples of this soon, but the concept of the Junkions are that everything about them is junk, which includes the junkier parts of pop culture. These days, they'd be making constant old meme references and quoting the worst, trashiest reality TV. Back to Hot Rod and Cup, after Hot Rod does some repairs to the old-timer, they come across some more alien robots. Though these ones also transform, which will be explained why in the series proper. The Sharktacons. Cup says he'll use the universal greeting, which in English means like and subscribe, chat. They then give the beings some Energon fruit roll-ups or whatever, but when they run out, the Sharktacons attack and they're captured, brought to the chambers of their masters, the Quintessons. The Quintessons, these weird cybernetic beings with 5 faces that rotate on a large central body, perform a trial that sees them feed a robot to the Sharktacons after they're declared innocent. I don't know if expanded media ever explains this or if they're just assholes. Our heroes are thrown into a jail cell and meet Kranix, the survivor of the attack by Unicron at the start. He gives a quick exposition dump about Unicron and the world they're on now before he's dragged out for his trial. Don't worry, man, we've got a great lawyer lined up for you. Yeah, you can guess how well that goes. The Dinobots are wandering around looking for the other two, but are soon found by... Wheelie. See, the Junkions can be kind of obnoxious with all their pop culture references combined with a warbly sound filter. But then there's Wheelie, who speaks in rhymes, a scratchy voice filter, and a super high-pitched voice.
Friend, fine, look behind. You go wrong way, you fool, I say.
If you don't want to get cut up, then you had better shut up. Yeah, I know that was weak, but I don't feel like putting in more effort for him. Wheelie agrees to lead the Dinobots to Cup and Hot Rod. Meanwhile, Galvatron meets with Unicron, who informs him about Ultra Magnus's arrival and where he can find him.
Anyway, guys, I'll just stay here some more. Why don't my grandchildren ever visit me?
The Decepticons attack, forcing the Autobots to retreat from the shuttle, which they blow up. They're heavily outnumbered, so Magnus orders the others to find cover and seals them inside of the debris so he can try to unleash the power of the Matrix.
Open. Damn it, open!
Me trying to open an Arby's sauce packet when there's a tiny bit of grease on it.
Prime, you said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
Yeah, Magnus, it really is an unsolved mystery. Shut up, I'm funny. The Decepticons blast him apart, but leave the Matrix unharmed. As such, Galvatron declares that he'll use the Matrix to force Unicron to do his bidding. We cut back over to our other heroes as their own trial begins. Look, I know the last lawyer was a bust, but I've got a real winner for you this time, guys.
Panties, 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 panties.
They're dumped into the water and their restraints deactivated, allowing them to transform. It's rock music again to the rescue, driving around in circles to create a whirlpool and out of the water. In turn, in vehicle mode, they can run down the Sharktacons for a bit, but they're severely outnumbered. Fortunately, you don't need numbers when you've got robot dinosaurs.
Sharktacons, execute them!
Me Grimlock say execute them!
Me Grimlock, debate team champion!
Grimlock makes a compelling argument, and the Sharktacons rush to destroy their masters.
I think the problems on this planet will be solved very shortly.
Hot Rod, my boy, let me tell you about the urban proletariat rising up to eliminate the bourgeoisie.
They still need a way out, Wheelie saying he'll provide them with one if he can hitch a ride. They agree, and he points out a weird structure that is, in fact, a Quintesson ship. Back on Junk, the Autobots mourn the loss of Ultra Magnus for only a few seconds before the Junkions attack. This time, they're backed not by Rock, but by Weird Al. Honestly, Dare to be Stupid kind of fits perfectly with this movie. It's not smart, but it's fun. And sometimes you can just be stupid and have a good time. Although there's probably not much comfort for the crying children still mourning Optimus Prime. The Quintesson ship lands and our heroes reunite, Hot Rod trying the universal greeting again.
Ba weep grana, weep ninny bong.
Unfortunately, in the Junkion language, that means something incredibly racist. No, it's met with happy times and dancing to a great classic Weird Al song. Hey, does somebody want to do something about Galactus hanging over on Cybertron, or...
Have a nice day, and please close cover before striking, friends.
Can you believe that there are less than 20 minutes left in this movie? The Junkions are able to reconstruct Ultra Magnus completely, even repair the cracks in him. Did anybody think, hey, maybe we should bring Optimus to these guys? Magnus reports that Galvatron got away with the Matrix and went back to Unicron with it. As such, the Autobots and Junkions unite and fly off to finally deal with him. Speaking of, Galvatron tries to threaten Unicron with the Matrix, but of course is unable to open it. As such, it's time for a real money shot of the movie, Unicron transforming his planet form into the biggest robot of all. Although it feels like they kind of used up their budget for all the little transformation stuff for Autobot City. Maybe to front-load it, I guess? But still, robot the size of a planet.
For a time, I considered sparing your wretched little planet, Cybertron.
I mean, I knew I couldn't finish it, and the leftovers never keep.
But now, you shall witness its dismemberment.
Unicron proceeds not to dismember the planet, but just kind of smack at it. The Decepticon forces rally to fight Unicron, even Galvatron himself, but that's obviously a losing battle. Unicron then picks up Galvatron and drops him down his throat, and yeah, the scale of everything is probably a bit off given he's able to do that. It's like trying to pinch a single grain of sand from some carpet or something. The Autobots arrive and join the attack, Unicron breathing fire on them, but they make sure to do some damage as they're taken out, flying right into one of Unicron's eyes before abandoning ship. Fortunately for our heroes, we've got a reprise of Dare as they deal with a bunch of Unicron's internal defenses, Hot Rod getting separated from the others and running into Galvatron. The guy recognizes they need to unite against Unicron, but the big guy must sense the danger he's in and compels Galvatron to kill Hot Rod.
Puny Autobot, you lack even Prime's courage.
Spock. Comment. Very bad poetry, Captain.
Outside, the battle rages on, the Dinobots entering the fray and actually doing some damage, but it's all basically mosquito bites.
Me, Grimlock, need new strategy.
Okay, me, Grimlock, can contact Shockwave, who can get me, Grimlock, in touch with Decepticons. We regroup and launch combined counterattack on already weakened area, like Unicron head or behind it where hard to reach with big arms, maybe back of knee. With sustained fire, we punch hole inside and work way up to central processing unit and fry it. Or in a pinch, me, Grimlock, can just claw and bite at it more. Yeah, that sounds better. Back inside Unicron, Daniel gets separated from the others, but ends up over some weird acid tank and a conveyor belt that's dropping Transformers into it. Conveniently, he's reached it right as his dad and Bumblebee are about to be dropped in, so he's able to shoot lasers from his exosuit to close the tank and save them. Meanwhile, Galvatron and Hot Rod continue their fight until the villain has his hands around his throat.
First, Prime, then Ultra Magnus, and now you.
Admittedly a step down after those two, but I'm not picky.
Hot Rod grabs onto the Matrix around Galvatron's throat and is able to start opening it.
Arise, Rodimus Prime. Optimus.
Wait, Hot Rod, is that you? Sorry, that call was for Rodimus Prime. I must have gotten the phone numbers mixed up.
The Matrix transforms Hot Rod with the power of the touch, allowing him to fling Galvatron out into space, damaging his voice circuits, no doubt, and driving him completely insane for Season 3. Rodimus Prime opens the Matrix completely, the energy annihilating Unicron, who decides to rip off his own leg for some reason? The rest of the Autobots reunite and flee out of Unicron's other eye before he completely self-destructs, leaving only his head in orbit of the planet. And so our movie ends with the Autobots landing back on Cybertron, Rodimus declaring that the Cybertronian wars are over. Until the next season, at least. Also, they're somehow in charge of Cybertron now? I don't know. Maybe the Decepticons were just too badly hurt in the fight and they all had to flee. Point is, Unicron is defeated, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen with that head or any ghosts of Starscream. Transformers the movie is incredibly silly, with two-dimensional characters and not much in the way of an arc for anybody. But damn if it ain't still fun 40 years later. Then again, complex characterization was never the original cartoon's strong point. It's an action show, sometimes funny, sometimes poignant, but always a blast to watch to see big robots punching and shooting at each other. Aside from the kick-ass soundtrack, I'd say what really succeeds for the movie is the animation. It's so detailed and fluid. They clearly put their all into it, and even when we have bizarre, alien, imaginative, yet busy as hell environments, the characters are still distinct and never become lost in the noise. If anything, the movie is just an incredible visual treat and worth watching for that alone. That being said, yeah, it's pretty violent. A lot of that is gotten away with because they're robots, but I hope by now people are able to empathize with living beings enough to feel a little disturbed by a lot of the more senseless deaths. Some put in there just for the cynical greed of executives who don't understand why kids are into the stuff they're into. Still, the legacy of the film is preserved, even if, at the time, it was a critical and financial bomb. Next time, the Patreon-sponsored extravaganza continues with something video game related, but in comic form, as we look at a League of Legends comic.
Oh look, Starscream has fallen! I, Galvatron, am your new leader!
This is Unicorn. The Earth will soon be a part of me.
Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon, buy merch from the store envy link in the description, or check out the t-shirts available from Teespring. Thanks for watching!